question is that the motion be agreed to.
Mr Speaker.
Stuart Nash.
Thank you much, Mr Speaker. A wide and varied, actually not, choice. Mr Speaker, look, we support this. It seems like it's a very non-contentious bill. I do note, as the last speaker, as the Minister stated, it replaces the Associated Churches of Christ Church Property Act 1929. Whenever I see this sort of bill, which really is non-contentious, but basically just changes the legal structure under which assets are held, I always have just one question, and I think the Minister answered this, but it's one that has to be asked, and that is that all members of all parishes actually agreed with the change of structure. Obviously, there are legal implications in changing the structure, even though I do note that the new board, the new trust under which the Act we're talking about, the bill we're talking about now, will still be bound by all the deals, the contracts and obligations of the old trust. In fact, it appears, reading through the bill, Mr Speaker, that very little changes except the actual name. But again, we just need to know that every parish member or every parish that is part of this actually agreed to this. And as mentioned, I think the Minister alluded to that. We also note that over 85 years, things change. And back in 1929, who knew what was going to be happening in 2015? And so you set up a structure 85 years ago to meet the times, and times have changed. But it's quite interesting, Mr Speaker, because I reflect on that. In 1929, obviously, the country was in the grip of a recession. There was record unemployment. People were worried about their jobs, their futures, their children, their families. And while some things do change a lot in 85 years, some things don't change either. We're still in a period, Mr Speaker, 85 years later, where we have record unemployment, we have a global financial crisis, people are still worried about their future, where we have a commission for work because we don't know what work's going to look like. So a lot, whilst not much does change, a lot does change. We are supporting this bill. It's a non-contentious one. It is sensible. I doubt all the properties are going to be returned to Rome. Is there such a thing as a true church? Yes, Walter was actually a lay preacher. He believed in this. In fact, he was what you would call a Christian Democrat as opposed to a social democrat. There's very little difference. Very, very proud of it. A lay preacher. There's no doubt about that. He was in Parliament in 1929, so he probably spoke on this very bill all those years ago. So, yeah, but Minister, can I just, you could nod if you would like. You're not concentrating. I sort of expect that from next month. We do support this bill, Mr Speaker, and I commend it to the House.
Sarah Dowrick.